so I'm totally unprepared. I'm just going to let these guys talk, keep it casual and fun, because by this time, I'm sure most of you have already seen a voice actor panel, correct? Oh, good.
No.
Okay, so, and we'll open up for questions as well. But my name is Craig. I'm a nobody up here. But this is actually my brother, my real-life brother, John. He decided that my last name is Crumpton. He decided he was too good to be a Crumpton, so he changed
People
it.
can't spell it right anymore. I gave up. I just went by my middle name.
But I do a website called Voice Actors in the News, just a fun thing. I started a community. Some of you might have heard of Voice Chasers as well. We kind of trade off. We use each other's staff members. Just a fun hobby that I started back in the 90s, and sometimes gets me into conventions to say hello and stuff. So MomoCon was fun. 2 years ago, I actually won the Disney karaoke contest. So yay for me. Anyway, but this is not about me at all. I would introduce all these guys, but I don't. I know who Steve is. John, do you want to introduce?
Introducing Chris Rager.
Yeah.
Borderlands.
Hello. My name is Chris Rager, and I am here. No. You guys might have. Oh, my goodness. It is a little hard to talk to this morning, is it not?
Right.
Okay, guys. My name's Chris Rager. You may have heard me from some very unpopular animes like Dragon Ball Z. Oh, you guys like that one? That's awesome. Borderlands 2, Mr. Torg. Those are some of the more notable ones. The list goes on and on, I'm sure, as they do for everyone here. And on to
Sarah.
I want to be Keith David.
Don't we all?
That job is already taken.
Hi, I'm Sarah Williams. I voice in stuff like Sword Art Online, Kill la Kill, Madoka Magica, League of Legends. Aw. No, I thought that one would get the biggest one because that's like 90% of what I've signed this weekend, and everything else was like Kill la Kill, Madoka, and Sword Art. No Yuki Yuna. I was saddened. But yeah, that too. And Skullgirls, so thank you.
Yeah. Y'all are allowed to clap. You are allowed to clap. I'm just
You say you
not
had
for
the
me
clap?
necessarily, but for everybody up here.
What?
My name's David Eddings. I work at Gearbox Software, and I do the voice of a yellow robot named Claptrap. And yes, you are allowed to clap. Thank you very much. And another character, TK Baja, it's in the game. And that's my whole list of things that I'm known for. So.
My list is shorter than your list.
Yeah, but it's really awesome.
yeah.
My name is Steve Downs, and for the last 14 years, I have been the voice of Master Chief from the Halo series. Thank you. Also, I was the voice of Star-Lord for the Disney XD series Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the brief appearance of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Until that Chris
Apparently that's a
Pratt
thing
came
now.
along. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Sarah, but I've already claimed Keith David. I'm taking him home with me, so sorry.
Aww.
One day he will be mine.
I'm John Bailey. I've done about a dozen games or so. I'm the voice of the Council and the Elder in the XCOM franchise. I'm also Non-Disclosure Agreement and Non-Disclosure Agreement, coming out Non-Disclosure Agreement. Yeah, I've done over 1,000 voiceover jobs. I do a lot of movie trailers, and then this stupid little thing called Honest Trailers is apparently a thing. So, yeah, people just walk around asking me to say, "Babes." And, and I fill in for a lot of actors in trailers and stuff, so they ask me, hey, we can't get a hold of Jeff Bridges, so I go in and do Jeff Bridges for him. Because he's done the same character for every movie since True Grit.
It's funny, he's been the sound-alike for a bunch of actors, and I've been the on-camera double.
This is Zach Galifianakis' stand-in for Due Date, by the way.
Thank you. Which was filmed here in the World Congress Center. But I've also been Billy Crystal in I can't remember the name of it. Oh well, it was Billy. They made me look just like him. It was pretty amazing. And Nathan Lane, a pilot that shot here, I was his double as well. I know I look nothing like, but that's the magic of movies, TV. You can make them look like anything you want.
And he worked with Larry the Cable Guy in the Medea's Christmas
Oh, yes.
thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. I actually finally gave him his birthday present from
Yeah, it's
three or
4
4
years
ago.
late, but I finally got
autographed.
something that's
was
made her took the
autographed
shit.
from
Get her
Larry.
done, Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah. He was fun to work with. He made fun of me every day on set, and I loved it. It was fun.
He's like, I don't care if Chick-fil-A doesn't like homosexuals to make good chicken sandwich. I'm going to eat it.
He did. That's actually a direct quote. That's him telling my story. Okay,
Now you're moderating.
Okay.
Speaking,
Like,
speaking of just a random thought I had because I have weird random thoughts. Speaking of Keith David, did anyone else play Saints Row 4 and get really sad that you couldn't romance him? I was just like, I was watching my roommate do it, and he was just distressed. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I can't. They won't let me. I'm like, well, did you try again? It's like, no, I've tried it over and over and over again. he keeps, and I was just like, we started joking. It was like, who hurt you, Keith? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Just like we were just really down about that for some
He
reason.
does totally deny you each and every time. And he gives you like a sorry excuse of like, you're the president, I'm the vice president. And
It just wouldn't work.
it just wouldn't work.
It's like, but Keith, I just want to love you.
That's weird because he's such a cool guy. Every time I've got to meet him, he's like, hey, what's going on, you know? Plus, he's like Halo buddies with Master Chief here. I met him in San Diego very, very briefly, and I was like, man, I get the biggest smile every time I see a Navy commercial. He makes everything sound cool. He's like, thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I grew up with gargoyles. Oh my God.
1,000 years
So
ago,
good.
superstition and the sword ruled. It was an age of darkness. It was a time of gargoyles.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that voice so much. So are you moderating?
It's like he's
I usually
here.
come
Yeah.
prepared when people ask me to moderate things, and I give a lot of stuff.
That's where
away.
that
That's
improv,
only
that's where that
only reason
improv kicks in, right, Chris?
Nobody wants me on the panel
We will
unless I'm
continue
giving
with
stuff
random
away, so.
thoughts.
That makes it a little more fun.
But yeah, I
agree.
usually come prepared with like scripts from movies that you all know, and they're fun to see them riff on with their characters.
Oh God, you're gonna make us work.
And
Sunday.
and I do research on the guy, so I make sure I don't look like an idiot like I'm already
late.
doing today.
This is a payback for all the mean things you did to me as a kid. No.
What mean things? Oh. But really, we should just. This is Sunday. Keep it light and casual. We'll open it up. See if somebody give me a heads up on like the 20-minute mark when we have 20 minutes left, whenever our floater is, and we'll do some Q&A. But for now, Jonathan and I, since we grew up together, there's 8 years between us, but we actually hung out more growing up than my older brother and I did.
Yeah, my parents are Sarah and Abraham.
Yeah.
That's from the Bible. Come on, wow. I'm the only one that got that reference.
It's okay. I was named after the Bible, Sarah too.
But we got interested in. We didn't have a TV for 8 years in the house.
So was my sister.
So
Holly
we
Dibble.
would take comic books, our Transformers comic books, and do recordings. We would do the voices and the sound effects, and that's how it started for us, just as a fun thing. And but we used to do Mystery Science Theater fans.
Yes.
I mean, we would actually make little cutout shadows of the characters and hold it in front of a TV and make our own. I still have some video.
It's called pretending. You guys should look it
But
up.
it was. I mean, this is what we did. Those fueled our creative juices.
I
know
recorded
that's
on a
mixed
Fisher
metaphor.
Price tape recorder.
Yeah. But we were before. We used to have little memorized bits that we would do for fun, and I was asking him if he remembered any. And you can do the opening.
Yeah,
narration
I was
from
doing
Transformers.
I was doing a session for. Is any Star Wars fans? Yeah, figured there might be a
What's
few.
Star
here.
Wars? I'm
And
too young to
One
know.
of my very first jobs, the second month I started doing this and getting paid for it, I had an audition for. It's actually a great story too. I'll keep it very, very short. But my power went out. I forgot to pay the bill, and I was on my way to my full-time job at the time. I drove a forklift, and I'm like, oh man, this is Star Wars, and I'm not gonna get to audition for this. So I begged them. I was like, please, I can have this waiting on you as soon as I get off work. I'll have this done because I won't sleep at night knowing I didn't at least give it a shot. And then 3 months went by. I was like, at least I tried. And then they called me back and it's like, hey, you got the voice of Captain Rex for the Clone Wars toys. And I worked directly with Hasbro's designers for it. And as soon as they turned the ISD on, the first thing I heard was Transformers animated. I'm like, oh, they're Transformers people. And she apparently used to work on Transformers. And I was like, I got my start because I heard Peter Cullen when I was a kid, and I loved that character so much. She's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, I actually do Peter Cullen a little bit. And she's like, can I hear it? And I was like, sure.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it come from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
Yeah, I did like the entire intro.
Yeah.
But the cube was lost to the far reaches of space. We searched the galaxy hoping to find it and rebuild our home. And just when all hope seemed lost, message of a new discovery came from a little-known planet called Earth. but we were already too late.
And I did the entire thing from memory. And she was like, that was the coolest thing I ever heard. And I got to work with Peter Cullen on the Transformers film. And I'm like, wow. She got to work with Peter Cullen. She's like, yeah, I was so nervous because I'm such a fangirl. I didn't want him because I'm working for Hasbro and I'm supposed to be cool now. And I'm like, Mr. Cullen, we need you to do a line for levels. He's like,
My name is Optimus Prime. Autobots transform and roll out.
she goes, yes, you are Optimus Prime.
Steve, do you have any childhood influences that brought you into your work today?
Childhood influences. Just the usuals, your Supermans and your Batmans and your various superheroes growing up. I suppose were my as they were for most of us, our heroes. But my route into voiceover was really. I started work at the college radio station because my career path at that point was either going to be a rock and roll drummer or just goofing off. Both of them seemed like
That's the same thing, right?
probably, yeah, it kind of was redundant, but both of them seemed like perhaps not the most secure career paths to take. And somehow I stumbled into radio. I actually wanted to stay close to music and be involved in music in some way and get paid for it. And I thought radio would be an entree into that. And I got in and I never left. I just loved that part of it. And from radio, moved to Los Angeles in the late 70s and was working in radio out there, and then found myself getting into voiceover, which was sort of a natural next step, and did mostly commercial voiceover, some narration. Moved to Chicago in the 90s, and that was, I had no idea how fortuitous that would be, in that Bungie was located in Chicago at the time, and Marty O'Donnell, who worked at Bungie, he ended up casting all the voice actor roles for Halo and also wrote all the music, and he used to listen to me on the radio and called one day and said, we have a new guy here that we think you might be good for in a new game we're developing. Come on in and read. And had no idea what he looked like. There was no background there. He just said, think of Clint Eastwood. Think of, Clint Eastwood from A Few Dollars More and all that kind of, and all
Except 10 feet tall and 400 pounds.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. And
Also expressive eyes.
yeah, yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a cigarette
they
at
did
three
mocap.
different lengths.
They did motion capture on his face. You just didn't see it because of the helmet.
So it just took off from there, and the rest is history. But and it ended up changing my life in ways I could not possibly have imagined, and here I am today. And I still do. I recently retired from the radio business, but I still do voiceover, and Halo, as most of you know, is still an ongoing concern, and that has been occupying my time as of late. And I can't wait to tell you about it, but I can't.
Will there ever be another Halo game?
Yes.
Nobody knows. There's no way to know.
I can confirm that there will be another Halo game, but that's
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 confirmed, guys.
The internet just exploded.
Everybody's twitching.
He and
like,
Beyonce are doing a duet for the Secret of Halo. song.
No, there's a whole copyright thing there involving Halo, but it's been a fun and incredible ride, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
When I was a kid and playing Halo, I used to think that was Steve Bloom's voice. And then when I got to actually hang out, I was like, Steve, were you the voice of Master Chief? He's like, well, you got the first name right. I guess we're supposed to go to Dave.
Yes,
Oh,
your childhood.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah, so I guess influences from our childhood. I grew up watching Warner Brothers cartoons, and Mel Blanc was my quintessential idea of what a voice actor even did, right? And then there was, I forget the lady's name who was like Wilma, and she did all the female
B.
characters.
Bernadette.
I'm
B.
sorry?
Bernadette was Wilma.
Yeah. And then my father actually, who is the voice of Lexus in Kuwait, because that's where he lives. He's actually a much better voice actor than I could ever be, and he influenced me quite a bit because he would read like the Chronicles of Narnia to his 4 kids, after dinner, to a couple chapters at a time, and he would do different voices for every character, and even later on other books when like a character would would return, he remembered that exact voice. And so
Our
he
mom
was-
read those books to us
it
as a
just,
child, too.
every single one was different. There was never one that was similar, very distinct. And so my rebellion was to get into the business side of things, of entertainment, and like, I'm not going to do the creative stuff because, you know, that's a struggle. It's hard, right? You know, especially for like everybody up here on stage, they audition for roles, and you know, you have to audition for a lot to get a few. And
I spend half my time here auditioning in my hotel room.
yeah, right on. And I've never actually had to experience the actor struggle, so it just kind of gave me the part.
Yeah, but you've made a ton of money off of that voice acting stuff.
Well, yeah, it says voice acting from the pros, but I'm still the only one up here that hasn't actually been paid specifically to do voices in games.
no,
or
We
There's
established
two of us.
logically back in the hotel room that you
We have
had
to logic
been.
you again?
Yeah,
Yes,
I got
I'm a
I got
logic
logicked
you.
earlier.
You did. I
But
dropped the
I'm
logic.
I'm on salary at Gearbox. I'm one of the executives, and you know, we pay our employees through our profits. So 40% of our profits go back to all of our employees, and that's how we do the bonus system, if you will.
Wait a second.
And-
Can I work at Gearbox?
No.
Here's a guy who wants to go to work at Gearbox.
We love you as a contractor.
Damn.
It's fantastic. No, you should come
I'll
up
just,
and,
like,
and
do
check
the
it out
trash
sometime.
or whatever.
There might be there might be some things that you could do. You know. But
I can sweep. I know I can do that. Anyway.
that would be
Could
awesome.
be
I
the
bet
guy
you-
making copies.
Exactly. But so you know, my influences though in doing something like Claptrap or TK Baja was really just mimicking all the geniuses that I've witnessed and watched and was exposed to throughout my childhood all the way through like my 30s, and you know, so it's I stole Claptrap's basically his whole voice is basically Johnny Cab, and that little dog in the Warner Brothers cartoon with Spike. He's like, hey Spike, let's go beat up a cat, Spike, come on. By the way, my voice is shot, so I can't really do Claptrap today, but and then Johnny Cab is like, the door opened and you got in, and so you can hear the real sing-songy type stuff, but it's totally just copying other people's stuff. That's about what I do. Yeah.
Imitation is the
Best part of stealing.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
I always say the good ones know who to steal from.
yes. Originality is the art of concealing your sources.
Indeed.
Something Los Angeles talk something.
Or you can say it like that.
Sarah,
What about you, Sarah? Yeah.
your childhood?
I watched a lot of anime growing up. a lot of anime. Like Sailor Moon was like my first thing, and I was like in second grade when I saw it, and my little brain like couldn't even handle what I was seeing because I was just like, this is different. I've not seen this. I don't know why it's different, but it's different, and I like it. And I slowly figured out like, oh, this is from Japan. That's why it's different. Why is it different? That reason, I don't know, but I was such a huge fan of Sailor Moon, and it went away sadly for a while, and I was sort of intrigued. I'm like, what? Are there other stuff like this? Can there be other stuff like this? And it took a while because I couldn't find anything, and this was before we had a lot of options. Like I think Channel 99 would show random anime movies for a while. Like I saw a couple Lupin movies. I saw Twilight of the Cockroaches, which
you were gonna
is
say
an
Twilight the
interesting
movie. I was like, oh, no.
experience at that age. It's just like.
Is it like vampire cockroaches?
No, it's a
sparkled in
weird.
the
It's a
daylight.
weird combination.
They
of
shimmer in the
actually-
light?
It's a weird combination of live action and
For 12-year-old
anime.
girls and 40-year-old women?
It's like Jill's apartment, basically, sort of, kind of. It's
You
about
can
a
only
guy
kill them
who
with
lives.
garlic raid.
It's like there's this live action guy who lives in this really filthy apartment, and he doesn't care.
And he talks to the cockroaches, right?
No, he doesn't talk to him. He's just aware they're there, but he doesn't care because it's like, whatever, I'm a bachelor, I don't care.
Do they
and the
talk to him?
cockroaches have like they focus on the cockroaches are animated, and it's like this whole weird power struggle. Like this one roach likes this girl, but she's promised to this big soldier guy who's actually a nice guy though. So it's
It sounds like
a
Wachowski's
Like
brothers
Orwell.
movie.
and then
Right?
they have to go to war because the guy gets a girlfriend, and she's not going to live in his filthy apartment. They have to clean. There's like a whole scene
They're
where they
cockroaches.
wake up, and there's a bunch of animated cockroaches sitting on the ceiling, and they're all like, and then they start dive bombing and attacking them, and there's like this coordinated effort where they're like throwing spray cans to each other, getting them with the rain.
I want
and
to do
stuff,
the
and it's
trailer
like-
for this movie.
It's really weird. It's a weird.
No
By the
spoilers,
Wachowski
though, right?
brothers.
No spoilers.
From
it's
the creators
weird.
of Jupiter Ascending.
But yeah, and then finally Toonami started up
with Moldar, before Tom there was Moldar hosting, and Sailor Moon came back, and I was like, Sailor Moon again, and I slowly but surely was like finding all this other anime, and I went to my hugely kawaii ugu phase, where I was just like, oh my god, and slowly but surely I realized I wanted to do that for a living, and then realized there's more to voiceover than just anime dubbing, and a great appreciation. And that's one influence. The other influence is my dad, who I like to joke that he wanted to offset all the anime because he didn't get it, but he would showed me a lot of Warner Brothers cartoons, like all the classics. I watched those with him, and weirdly enough, he got me into old radio shows, which was just him sitting me down and be like, Sarah, listen to this. So I would listen to The Shadow and the Bickersons and Jack Benny going to sleep at night when I needed something to listen to at night. I'd be like, I'd fall asleep listening to that because I just like to put the tapes in and go to sleep with those, and it was. So that was I didn't even think about it till I was like, wow, I was listening to voice acting all the time.
Oh, you hear it everywhere you go. You don't even know.
Was your dad in the business?
No, my dad's a lawyer. So I don't know, but he was a baby boomer, so he grew up with that stuff too. But he's just like, Sarah, listen to this.
Yeah, the old radio serials and so on. It was great.
Big fan of War of the Worlds.
Everybody sat around and listened to.
Yeah, I have War of the Worlds, but I mostly listen to The Shadow, the Bickersons, and Jack Benny.
Shadow knows.
Like 15 different Shadows, I realized. It's like Orson Welles was only part of it, and he wasn't even my favorite one. There was a different guy I liked better than Orson Welles.
No one likes anyone better than Orson Welles.
Not even Orson Welles.
When she says The Shadow, she's not referring to that Baldwin movie. This is the old radio show with the cheapest special effect ever. The actor that played the Shadow had a tin can, and he just held it right next to the mic, and that was the voice.
And that whole thing that weird thing where it was all live, and my dad and me to this day still joke about an episode of The Shadow we listened to, and my dad swears that something must have gone wrong with the prop gun, because there's a point where I forget what the situation was about, but Lamont or the Shadow, I think it was Lamont. He was doing the Lamont version of himself. He's like, Margot, shoot that gun, shoot! And she's like, I can't, it isn't loaded. And suddenly, bang, you hear the gun go off, and the actress just sort of goes, wow, it was loaded. And my dad swears,
everything was
the gun
live.
must not have gone off, and she covered for it. But I was like, that's just a beautiful moment because it's almost hysterical.
I was so hoping it was a different sound effect. Shoot the gun!
Yeah. Ooh, not that gun.
Slide whistle.
Ouch. Is it my turn to talk about I did not have a childhood. This is how I was made.
Here's a guy who didn't have a childhood.
Came out looking like this and sounding like this.
No,
definitely. For me, it was really comedy. I was really into comedy and Saturday Night Live, and the different characters and impersonations and things I would hear then. I mean, definitely a lot cartoons and anime influenced me when I was younger. I loved Battle of the Planets, what I then later in life found out was called Star Battleship Yamato, but it was called Star Blazers. When I watched it, it was All Star Blazers. Loved that show, man.
I love you old guys.
The photon cannon was like the world to me. And if that thing did not fire in that episode, I was pissed. Pissed. They didn't use the photon cannon. I got to wait one more episode. I was so mad. But I mean, But when I got to an age where I thought about becoming an actor and saying, "Look, I think I want to do this," it was definitely about comedy for me. I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I wanted to go to New York, and I wanted to do all that. That didn't really happen.
How'd that work
but I
out for
did
you?
take improv and learn about that, and that was where it kind of all started for me.
They
Is
already had Joe
trying
Piscopo,
different voices,
right?
huh?
They already had Joe Piscopo. So.
Screw Joe Piscopo, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, what bad? He's an okay guy.
He's more
Once.
of a Robert De Niro.
Right? Robert De Niro. Yes, I agree. See, she knows how to do it. All right? Come on. All right.
You mean we could have had you as like, my name is Matt Foley?
Right? I mean, that was the plan. I did join an improv troupe in Dallas called Lone Star Comedy, and it was a former member of the Groundlings, or former president of the School of the Groundlings, came to teach classes here and formed a troupe. It only lasted maybe about 8 or 9 years, but I did learn a lot. I did meet a lot of people. I did perform with a lot of people from the Groundlings. Oh, a little small claim to fame that I enjoy telling is Cassandra Peterson. We all know who Cassandra Peterson, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. She had come to do and promote one of her movies or or to plug something. So she was in town, did a show with us. We did a date improv where we went on a date together, and you kind of got to see the beginning, the middle, end of the date. And it didn't really go that well. Her improv skills weren't quite up to what they probably used to be back in the day. But that is where she discovered that character is in the Groundlings. She created Elvira. Anyway, long story short, at the end of the night, I just looked at her and I go, so, she's like, so. And I'm like, well, do you want to make out? You know, it's the end of the night. And, dude, she grabbed the back of my head and planted a big wet kiss on me, dude. And so I totally kissed Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Awesome.
Woo! Yeah. Wow.
Drops the mic. Boom.
Right.
I licked a battery.
You licked a battery?
I licked a battery once.
It was totally awesome, man. She was looking good at her age too.
Yeah.
Man. It was
She still looks good at 80 or however old she is.
yeah. Anyway,
Well, her boobs are
I'm
probably
just
not
saying.
80 or 90.
You
She's
just
a
don't want to
redhead.
see her
a
with
lot
the
of
clothes
a
on.
lot of people don't know what she looks like.
she's a redhead
without all the
yeah.
the
She's a
makeup
redhead
yeah.
and
yeah, beautiful.
yeah, beautiful girl.
Yeah. She still is. Yeah.
A couple of more of my influences were Jonathan Winters and Rich Little. I mean, Jonathan Winters, you talking about improv
best.
skills. You give that guy a napkin, he
yeah.
could go on for 16 hours
Yeah.
straight. Man, that was just comedy gold for me growing up.
You know, he was on that show there for a while where he played the grandfather, and they called him Gunny for short or something like that. And he would improvise these scenes where he looked out the window and he would just see something. He would be talking about it. It was always the most crazy, brilliant stuff.
And
they
you
just
believed
let
every
him
second
riff,
of it, too.
Yeah.
looking out the kitchen window at what was going on outside, man. It was always gold. Yeah. Anyway, look those up. They're funny.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Influences.
I'll add one, especially since three of us were obviously influenced by it. But our mom read the Chronicles of Narnia books to us when we were children. She was a really good narrator. She didn't really do a lot of the voices, but she was a really solid narrator. And like my earliest childhood memories are her reading to me. And Steve, you said that
As a voice actor, you should know how to read.
Yeah.
And,
It helps.
You have
No,
they
It's not really a
just-
requirement.
They
but
put these symbols up on the screen and they arrange them in different orders, and you're supposed
Rule
to
number one.
They normally look like wingdings, but if you're really good, if you have the heart of the voice actor in you, they're words.
to be
actual words.
to be fair and not to play on people who not that they can't read but they have disabilities with seeing. I have a friend Lee Tokar up in Vancouver is working on 14 animated series right now. Lee Tokar is legally blind. He has his scripts printed in huge print. He goes every night. He goes and memorizes the entire scripts and then goes the next day all day long and records. That's dedication to his craft.
We'll make the rest of us
Kudos
look
to that
lazy.
guy.
I guess I should give more credit to my dad because he would read to me too, and I just thought of it now. I'm a terrible daughter. I only thought of it now, but yeah, God, he would do so many he was a lawyer, but he would do voices like he liked the Phantom of the Opera, and he came up with this character called the Funny Phantom, who would always come and try and kidnap my sister and me and take us away to his dark lair, but we would always foil him, and he would just be like this bumbling idiot, and it was great. And he came up with he would sing we had this shark toy, and he would do this little song. It's like, I am the shark, I'm the terror of the sea. my dad continually came up with all this crazy stuff, and one time I played soccer, and he was the goalie, and he pretended to be what was that famous French guy in the old movies? Maurice Chevalier. Yeah, he would do that voice as the goalie, be like, I am the goalie. You shall never get by me. And I would, of course, he'd let me score a goal, and he'd be like, that was a fluke. You know, my dad, just coming up with all that stuff.
Dads are cool.
I was going to say, though, but speaking of our mom, the very first voice I ever did, I did it out of pride because my mom said that she could do it better. It was Grover from Sesame Street. And she's like, oh, I can do Grover. And I'm like, I bet I can do it better than you can. She's like, oh, no, I can do Grover and Yoda. I'm like, they're the same guy. Just one of them has a speech impediment.
But I was going to add to that. I mean, I know we have a younger crowd here, but when you become parents, and those of you who are parents, read to your kids. I mean, it's proven that reading to your kids and getting your kids to read aloud improves their vocabulary, improves reading comprehension. I was reading at like a 7th or 8th grade level in the 1st grade because my mom, and I just devoured any book. I just wanted to read, and I read everything out loud too. And reading out loud is really important for voice actors because it gets you where you can cold read. You nail it. I mean, you just have to know where the characters come from.
I love reading The Pale Green Pants with Nobody Inside Them by Dr. Seuss to my children. That's just so much fun, and it's such a fun book to read.
But I was influenced by some of these guys. May know Pat Fraley. He's probably the most well-known.
You may remember Pat Fraley as the voice of Greg.
Yeah, from the Ninja Turtles. But Pat is one of the most respected voice coaches and vocal instructors in the industry. And for those of you who are interested in voice acting, I'm just going to throw this. There's two main things that I recommend. First, Pat's and his audio instructionals. The first one that we heard when I found a tape of it
15
was creating characters for fun and profit. So PatFraleyTeaches.com is the website. Write that down.
Fraley.
And he finally, after years of convincing him that he really needed to put it back in circulation, I finally got him to put it as a digital version on his website. So he has that one available. And it's got a demo reel from Frank Welker in the '70s. You just need to hear. Frank Welker is Fred on Scooby-Doo and hundreds and thousands, vocal monsters, and all those Disney. Well, he did Disney. He was the giant. And he did the monkey in Aladdin, and he was the voice of the.
He's Sweets in Box Trolls.
Yeah, but but hearing his demo at the really early, back when he was so young, and there's some really fascinating demos on there. But creating character voices for fun and profit is one, and the other one that he has is a two-disc set called Cartoon Voice, and they are amazing. I recommend them. He has an 8-step thing for how to develop characters. He also shows you how to do impressions. He starts with his own voice and teaches you step by step how to do Jack Nicholson. And his stuff is so concise and so precise that anybody can pick up those techniques and use them. It's just really good stuff. PatFraleyTeaches.com. He might have even shortened it to PatFraley.com recently.
It took him a little while to digitize things because he was still he's like, if you go to my website, you can buy the cassettes.
But Pat had another one. I think he put that one back in circulation too, digitally.
He re-recorded that, actually. It's not the original that we heard, but it's a newer version. It's got some additional material in it as well. So.
But he's got another one called How to Read for Your Children. It's really good, really great for parents. But listening to that one back in the early 90s influenced me. I started a reading program for children, and I done it here in the Atlanta area, where I go into schools and I teach kids how to do character voices and how to do sound effects in order to get them to read out loud. And I have a blast doing it. Kids, usually the 1st to 3rd grade level, they eat it up. And it also I've had autistic children and those with learning disabilities that are wanting to read out loud just because it makes reading fun for them. So parents, you can be a big influence on your children at a very young age just by reading to them and getting them to read out loud.
I wish
see how it influences us.
I wish I'd have got that book because I got the wrong one. I got How to Do Character Voice by Gilbert Gottfried. And, and so it was
How would he scream into a
surprisingly
microphone?
a very long book.
60 minutes of Iago. Oh, that hurts.
So
and there's a bonus material. You can get me reading 50 Shades of Grey.
To be fair, if you haven't seen that video,
that's a real
that video
thing.
is hilarious. That legitimately exists.
If you
Look
really
it up.
hate yourselves, he also does audiobook teaching called $1 Billion Read. It's a brutal.
Pat Fraley, not Gilbert Gottfried.
Here's the funny thing is that that's not how he talks in real life. That's how he talks to an audience. And,
he
character.
freaked me out. I saw him on Jay Leno, and he was like,
And then I hear Jerry Seinfeld on TV. He's like, why do people wear socks? I'm like, where did that come from?
I heard that on. He did that
Did
bit
any
on
of you
Bob
go
and
see
Tom
Gilbert
way
Gottfried
back
when he was here in Atlanta? Because he was the day before his concert, he was on the radio. He had no voice, and he's like,
I'm so afraid because all these people come to hear me scream at them, and I got no voice. He said, I hope they don't ask for a refund.
But the second influence for any interested in voice actors is a blog that's online. iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It is done by D. Bradley Baker, who is he's one of the best sound effects guys, vocal sound effect guys in the biz. And he also does tons of cartoons as well. But it's
you've heard him.
all
It's like
there, yeah.
you don't know if you've heard him, but you've heard him. Like for one, if you want to go non-animal, if you watch American Dad, he's Klaus.
Yeah.
And if you watch
Clone
Korra,
Wars, he's all the.
If you watched Avatar at all, he was the monkey and he was also the giant. He was off.
Phineas and Ferb.
And then in
Perry the
Korra, he
Platypus.
was the bear creature. So yeah,
But I want to be a voiceactor.com. Very easy to remember, and he's got tons. I don't know how long he spent writing on that. I can kind of, because I've been doing voice actors in the news since the 90s, I've spent hours and hours just on the same article, overnight. But there's so much information on that site. It's just really, really helpful.
He and Steve Bloom invented the language of the box trolls as the two main characters. Wow. They completely came up with their own language for that film.
It's like get a pint or two or whatever and just come up with a new language.
That's
literally.
I do that almost every night.
It's insane. How
are we on time?
God, that's insane. You want to talk about a niche in voiceover? The creature stuff. I don't know how hard that is to break into because there's basically two guys.
Well,
it's
Frank.
Dee and it's Frank.
Frank. Oh my gosh.
And
Frank's so uncredited on so many things. He knows like 100-something different bird sounds.
Yeah, Dee's
every
site
movie.
alone, Dee's website alone on the front page, he has a reel for almost every. There's a bird reel, there's a frog reel, there's a lizard reel. He has like 15 reels of just different animals. Oh my God.
I'll give you some homework to do. Go on YouTube when y'all get done with MomoCon and look up Manny the Uncanny, Manny, Manny the Uncanny, and you should be able to find it, but look for the zoo video. They go to the San Diego Zoo with Frank Welker, and he imitates every animal in the zoo. Frank's the kind of guy that you bring him in to record a monkey, and he asks you what type of monkey. He knows them all.
And Manny the Uncanny is actually a voice
It's
actor.
Paul Rudd from
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid. But Paul Rudd and Frank Welker go to the San Diego Zoo, and Frank just imitates. It's really fun, like 3 or 4 minutes to watch. Anyway, I think before we start taking Q&A, we're probably only going with 20 minutes. You can maybe get 10 people in. So 10 people, if you want to start lining up. First 10, we'll probably get those questions in, and we'll do one more question for the panel. At kind of a two-parter, if you can. What kind of things do you like to watch as entertainment or listen to, and what is a current favorite of that?
He's looking at Chris. So I'm guessing we're starting down.
Yeah, let's start with you.
Start down here.
Do your second favorite thing to watch.
Second favorite thing.
Remember, this is PG-13.
This is a
young
family
crowd,
thing
yeah,
that we're
family.
doing.
Okay. Honestly, I'm a nerd like the rest of us. I love Arrow and The Flash. I really like that show Blacklist right now. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I don't. And I, man, there's so many things. That Daredevil show that just came out.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my one guilty pleasure that I really like, and it's summertime, and it's about to come on, and I love, and I've watched every show and every season. I pray and hope that one day I could be on this show, but I love Big Brother. And I don't know why.
My wife does
watch
too.
that? I know it's a in-house reality competition type show, but for some reason, I just want to go in and manipulate everyone in there, and I feel like I could do it. I could win that show. I really do. But anyway, Big Brother. That's my answer.
Good.
So what do we watch?
Yeah, what do you like
you enjoy
or
right now?
listening to?
I haven't had cable in a very long time just because I don't need it. Like, once you have Hulu and Netflix and YouTube, it's like, what do I need cable for? So, the last show I watched through was I marathoned Community, and I loved it to death because I miss Scrubs, and Community filled that hole a little nicely.
I worked on
That
Community.
came out wrong. Anyway, and I should finish it up because I really liked what I saw. I watched 2 episodes of Daredevil, and that is a really pretty good show, actually.
If you watch the first 2 episodes and then just watch the last episode, you
The
can
price of
skip all the ones in between.
that scene in the hallway when that guy just gets nailed in the head with that container, that's worth the price of
awesome.
admission alone. I was just like, oh my God, that was a beautiful moment. But mostly what I end up watching is just a ton of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm like John Tron, Cat Icarus, Jordan Underneath. Seriously, check out Jordan Underneath if you like horror games. That kid needs more viewers because, oh my God, he's such a creepy little guy and I love him to death. Cinema Snob, Nostalgia Critic, who I just talked to. That was awesome. Cryotic, Markiplier. So yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube.
Right on. Lately, as far as I'm going to talk about what I've been listening to, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Lyrics Born, but man, they got a new album out and it's just freaking fantastic. We actually used one of their. We're thinking about using one of their songs for a trailer or something like that. So anyway, Lyrics Born is absolutely fantastic if you like good music as opposed to all the other stuff. And watching, I love Archer. I love to watch. H. John Benjamin is freaking fantastic. One character kind of guy, but it's so perfect
Phrasing.
for everything. And then things like It's Always Sunny or Arrested Development on Netflix and those kind of shows. Otherwise, I'm playing a lot of games. That's what I'd like to do, So I spend more of my my entertainment hours are spent, with a controller or a keyboard and mouse in my hand. So
That too.
yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Stole my answer.
I thought that's a given. Like, you
Yeah,
ever,
I suppose it is, but yeah, I have. Although I did, I was out in L.A. Last week, and the woman who was my director suggested. She said this is the way she watches Game of Thrones is with subtitles, so you can keep track of what the hell is going on, and where it's going on, and who's doing what to whom. But yeah, I became addicted to that show from day one, and Walking Dead, which is my other.
Yes. You stole both of my answers.
Yeah, and I'm not, I'm not a zombie guy. I never dug any of the zombie films or nothing like that. But anybody who watches Walking Dead knows that it's not really about the zombies, and
They're not the worst things.
and no, they're not the worst things. It's the real life, breathing people. But I think what both of those shows have in common, which is what I think their success is, and certainly what keeps me interested in it, is they're so layered. That there's so many different stories going on, simultaneously, and yeah, I mean, I need the subtitles to just keep up.
There's so many characters in Game of Thrones that we're supposed to be caring about, but we haven't seen them for a long time.
Yeah,
So,
and then they come back, and you're like,
oh yeah, they're in.
That's
the
why they do the
show.
previously on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
and-
from like 3 seasons ago.
right,
Okay, now I
exactly,
remember.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, I totally turned the closed captioning on for that, dude. It's the
yeah,
same
no,
because-
it's the way to go. It's
yeah.
definitely the way to
'Cause
go.
you'll miss something and be like, ah, man.
Yeah, got it. But yeah, those are my current faves, I guess.
I tend to keep up with all current animation that's out because I want to know who's working and I want to know what they're doing. So that way, when I do run into them, I'm not looking like a fool and be like, oh, what are you doing again? My kids I have 4 children. What I used to say is I have 2 wonderful children and then I have these other 2 kids. No, they're all great kids. And,
Ouch.
they're big Transformers fans. Obviously, I grew up on Transformers, so we watch the Transformers. I got most of them are My Little Pony fans, so I watch those. That's one of those shows where I can watch it and I'm like, oh, I can handle watching this. It's like Dora the Explorer. Don't even get me started. So, we grew up on the Wiggles, and you could literally go insane from watching some of these series as an adult, and they just can't get enough of it.
Hot potato. Hot
So,
potato.
don't start me. Cold spaghetti, cold
Smash
spaghetti.
banana, smash banana.
I think that guy's actually
Smash
doing the
banana.
Outback, the Outback
Banana,
commercials
banana,
now.
banana.
And as he said, Game of Beams. That's one of my
all
all-time
gonna be
favorites.
stuck in your
I cannot
heads,
wait for
by the
Sunday
way.
nights. And I'm not one of these guys that goes ahead and watches all of them because, they're all available digital. I wait till Sunday night. I'm going to watch Game of Thrones when it comes on. Obviously, Walking Dead is when he said. One I still can't quit watching, even though it's not even out anymore, because it literally is like Blue Meth, is Breaking Bad. Love that show so
My
much.
roommate keeps yelling at me to watch that, just as Sarah, you're an actor. You need to be watching Bryan Cranston. Look, just for your craft. Look at this man.
And,
Look at him.
That's the best joke. That's one of the best jokes Family Guy ever did. Was that moment where they're like, and now back to Bryan Cranston sneezing, and it's literally a live action shot of him just going, "Hachoo!" And then someone hands him an award offset, and he's just like, thank you, and that's it.
Breaking Bad was one of my when I started doing trailers, I started working on the Breaking Bad trailers, and I'm like, man, this seems like a really cool show. And they're like, you haven't seen it yet? Oh, every white person I ever know, you got to see the show. It's so great. They're addicted to it, like, crackheads. And so I started watching it, and I literally binge-watched to catch up and finished right as the series finale happened. 2 different jobs I worked on played during the series finale. I'm like, man, I just realized how many people heard me just now. That just blew my mind. Community is another one. That was my very first network promo was for Community.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie! Yeah, so I did all the promos for those guys. First time I ever got to say, this Thursday on NBC. And I was like, that is so cool that I get to say that. And there's a new one on NBC right now called Undateable. Anybody know who Chris D'Elia is? Yeah, thank you! Chris D'Elia is, he was on Whitney. He was the only funny thing on Whitney. And now he's basically one of the main 2 characters on the show called Undateable. And they did something they had previously not done before where they actually did an all-live sitcom, which has never been
Yeah,
done.
no,
it was
great.
so funny. It was the best thing ever. It was so good. NBC's like, you know what? Season 2, all live shows. So that was one I really like to keep up with. But yeah, I try to keep up with current animation and a few favorites that I have to put on the DVR, and hopefully I'll have time to watch them.
We should probably get to some questions, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry,
Nobody
time's
cares
up,
what I-
guys.
I watch and listen to.
Have a good day.
Yes, sir.
Hi there. Is this thing on?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it
I
is.
hear you.
Hi. So I realize this is the last day of a 4-day convention, so this one goes to whoever feels like answering it. But
He does.
does anybody have like a really memorable line that is Momocon appropriate that they just sticks with them
Torg.
or not? I
Okay. I mean, I guess I have, when it comes to like Mr. Satan, the phrase light shows and tricks always hits me. So it's all light shows and tricks, And then, of course, Torg, it's one word. And
You can't say it here.
you
Because
do
there's
it.
preschool toys present.
Explosions!
Can you say
That felt better than actually I thought it was going to feel.
Chunky Monkey, the sky's the limit?
Chunky Monkey? You want me to
As
say
the-
that?
As the wrestler guy.
Oh.
That he's basically
Chunky Monkey, the sky's the limit. Hell yeah.
Hey, you see, what's
Give me 2 spoons.
What about Master
That's all I
Chief?
got.
What's like one of your favorite signature lines?
I need a weapon.
Yeah.
That's appropriate for MomoCon. What does that mean?
Those 4 words.
Phrases you could use in everyday life.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
You'd be amazed.
Who hasn't said that?
Yes.
One that my character in XCOM is infamous for, why people hate me so much, is like, we regret to inform you, Commander, that you have failed this mission. So yeah, I'm the guy everybody loves to hate. And I kept thinking, I was like, wait a minute, you lost. Why are you mad at me? I'm just telling you what you did. Yeah. If you'd won, I'd be like, we're pleased with your progress, Commander. So it's your fault, not mine.
Fun
One
question.
of my favorite lines is actually TK Baja, the character that I do. It's and also I had to think of one that he does because I can't do claptrap right now with my voice all screwed up. But he does that. You should have seen the look on your face. And that character is just a fun guy to do because he basically represents most of my family. I live in Texas, so.
Oh, actually, I do have a funny story about a famous phrase. I found out that the lady that I worked with on the Clone Wars toys, she likes to mess with the people she works with. She's every voice actor she's ever worked with. Right in the middle of their audio, she has them say, "Release the Kraken," as the character that they're doing. So I was like, "Release the Kraken," and she's like, "That's so funny because they're gonna get that." And like, "Oh man, Sarah." Her name's Sarah too, by the way. And then it occurred to me because she mentioned she'd worked
Classic
on Peter.
Sarah.
She mentioned that she'd worked with Peter Cullen on the Transformers helmet. So that means somewhere out there, there's audio of Optimus Prime saying, "Release the Kraken."
I don't know if it's MomoCon appropriate, but I keep thinking about it. Just this game called Till Morning's Light just came out from Way Forward Games and Amazon. It's iOS, and I highly recommend it because unlike most cell phone games, it's not like one of those things you have to buy stuff for. It's like a complete full game, and it's really impressive that it's on the phone. I was like, I have to buy it once I figure out if my new phone can handle it. But yeah, and I played a character named Sarah. How appropriate. But she's like, I was so happy because she's way different. She's like soft-spoken and very quiet, and in my lower register, like not something I normally get to play, And I just, this one line always comes back to me because it's so self-deprecating and it's sort of adorable because she's a ghost, and the main character's just like, oh, sorry, I didn't see you there, and I'm just like, I'm easy to overlook. And I'm just like, aw, my heart.
And if Amanda was here with us, she would speak about the oinking. Yeah. You had to have been here for that panel to get that.
Livestock.
Yeah,
Oh,
I will be your livestock.
Explain that to me someday, Amanda.
I had to do a mobile game where I literally do every famous phrase from every movie. It's about a pig who flies by farting. And they were like, "Can you do this voice and this voice?"
Well,
So,
how
yeah,
else is the pig
oh
going
my
to fly,
God.
people?
Yeah. So yeah, there's like, "May the fart be with you." Yeah, it's just the lines in that just made me cringe. Like, oh, great.
You're making everybody cringe, actually.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Good question. Good fun question.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hold it close.
Steve, can I just say, I loved your voice every single time I played Halo, dying over and over on Legendary mode, so I never got bored of it. David, you're another story.
We designed I designed the character to, he's supposed to be irritating. He reminds you of the things you're supposed to do, but he's also supposed to be a little bit endearing, and you kind of want to have like that relationship with your sidekick, like their kid brother that's 4 years younger, and you can slap him around a little bit, but you don't want anybody else to do it.
Most people don't want to kill their big brother.
Yeah,
Their kid brother.
Your little brother. Well, sometimes, whatever. But
He was a
it's
colic
supposed to
baby,
be
and I wanted to
irritating
kill him.
and polarizing, and job done.
Job well done.
But I do love your pizza party scene.
What's that?
The pizza party scene?
That was actually my 13th and my 18th birthday. No joke. My family forgot about my 13th and 18th birthday. I thought of my 18th birthday it was going to be a surprise party because nobody was saying anything.
It was a surprise even to them.
Yeah, and so I kind of. Yeah, it was a huge surprise.
Surprise!
all
We
right,
forgot your birthday.
And
Ultimate surprise.
there were crickets there, but that's about
And that
it.
just means double presents at Christmas.
But yeah, it was kind of weird because I thought like how anyway it's but sorry that Claptrap's a character you love to hate and hate to love. So.
Yeah, but my main question is, being a voice actor, how often do you get to improvise, or especially for you, Sarah, you get to work a lot in anime that you don't really get the opportunity to really improvise or do different things. So how often do you get to say, oh, I don't really like this line, let's do something else?
It happens occasionally. I mean, it has to fit, but I sometimes if I'm lucky, the director will be like, I've literally had a director look at me like, this line's not working, what do you think, Sarah? And I'm like, and I sort of like, I get a writing credit. Well, I don't really, but I mean, with anime, it doesn't happen too much. So lots of times with the shows, I get to do outtakes. Like, if you've seen the Sword Art outtakes, I came up. Leroy Jenkins was my outtake, and I was waiting for a chance to put that in because, come on, it's an MMO, a show about an MMO. I gotta find a place. But I mean, like with Jinx, I got to improv because at one point, being the nerd that I am, I forgot to mention I watched a lot of Red versus Blue and rage quit on Rooster Teeth. I at one point said to them when we were doing the death thing, I was like, can I do the death rattle from Red versus Blue? And they're like, oh yeah, go ahead. It's like, yes. It's like, hurry! I was like, thank you so much. And one of Peacock's notorious lines was sort of a collaborative improv because I was waiting in the booth for my next thing, and the button clicks on, and I hear the tail end of someone saying, yeah, and then he pulls out a gun and yells "Garbage Day" and shoots him, and I was just like, are you talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2? And they're like, do you know it? And I'm like, I know it. And they're like, can you do it? I was like, I can do that. It took 2 takes. It was beautiful.
I improvise all the time. Like other than movie trailers, which sometimes the words don't quite work out. When they write these things down, I don't think they say them out loud. And then when you actually say them out loud, like, man, that sounds really weird. But yeah, I like pretty much everything I do, even commercial, video game. If I just go with my gut, whatever pops in my head, I'm like, can we try this? And like, oh man, that's like right. Change the script for that. I like that. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of script edits in the studio.
I have a feeling Chris does a lot of improv in his stuff too.
No, I mean I definitely came from the world of improv, and it's served me well in the voice acting game. Even when you don't have little moments, a lot of things, especially Hercule. When I first started doing Hercule, I really kind of tried to push him a certain way, even though they really wanted me to pull back on the sort of Texas-y Southern accent that he does kind of have, and I was like, nah. I'm not going to stop doing that. I was like, it's in the character, man. I go, trust me, it's going to be fine. And then I would even throw in, they would write the line, yeah, and I'd be like, okay, we're going to make it, oh, yeah. And I would throw in brothers at the ends of lines. If I had an extra flap in, I'd be like, yeah, brother. And eventually, the writers started writing them in there, and so that was nice. So yeah, lots of room to improvise. I didn't so much in Borderlands 2. We've been kind of talking about this weekend. I felt like the writing felt improvised. It felt like, as
Anthony
I said,
did a really good job of being able to get into the cadence for each character.
Really,
based off of what the voice actors would do, and then he would be able to write for you. He knew your voice in his head.
It was
too,
really
He
crazy.
did the same thing with Claptrap as well.
It was really crazy. It would just sort of come out and be like, yeah, I mean, where'd that come from? It just worked. It just worked, stuff like that.
We're doing a voice acting from the pros, and for those interested in voice acting, it's really a lot less about your voice, and it's really more about acting.
Yes.
And if you can act, there's a role for you because everybody doesn't have to have a deep radio voice or be able to mimic others. But if you can just act and you can sell it, and make people believe that you're not reading and that you're actually doing that thing that you're supposed to be, conveying, then hey, you know what? You can do this.
The two most important things before being able to act is being able to be on time and being able to be easy to work with as well. Then, if you're a good actor, you're probably doing all right.
As Sir Ian McKellen once said, acting is just pretending to be another person.
Yeah, especially being on time and being well to work with, because for the most part, especially when you're starting out, you are expendable. You are always expendable, and
There's thousands of other people looking for your job.
I have no disillusion that there are at least 10 plus people who can do exactly what I can do and do it just as well, if not better. So I better be prompt. I better be well on time. I better be easy to work with. I better be able to take direction, because if they get tired of my butt, they can call in another person like that.
Yep. And you better be available when they need you too.
Yeah.
Great, thank you guys.
Which most actors are.
We make ourselves available.
I'm not doing anything else.
What else are we doing?
And they will happily do it too. They'll be like, "Oh God, yes, finally."
I'm on my way. Someone take my kid.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Here, you stranger, watch this.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I got stuff to do.
Please tell me you don't have a
I got an
9,000
acting
questions.
job.
Is it Tuesday already?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a question for Steve. What was it like voicing Star-Lord?
Oh, it was great. I was just sorry that we didn't have more opportunities to do it. It was only one episode where when they were introducing, the Guardians to the Avengers, and it was a blast, and they really liked it. They being the producers of the series. And there was talk of, well, we got, we're definitely, this is the beginning of a new thing. Well, then the series got canceled. That was the end of that, and 2-3 years later, it's a huge successful movie, and obviously what Chris Pratt did was completely different. I mean, he injected the humor into that character. That that was the direction that they went. But no, I loved it and was hoping it was going to be another thing, but it wasn't.
You should have gone back to the studio and be like, "But I'm Star-Lord, man."
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Chris Pratt gets 1,000 emails being like, "You took work from Master Chief."
Thank you.
He got those from me, but
This is probably going to be the last question because they have to clear the room for the next panel.
Anybody can answer this one. How do you feel about more and more
Sorry.
voice
So
directors going for more realistic portrayals of characters, like people doing more realistic voices instead of like Mel Blanc style cartoonish voices and like animation and
That's what Dave just said.
and-
They want actors. In fact, the majority of network animation, you'll see the majority of the cast, they're from television. They literally every time I work on a game, like they said, we want something about like Nathan Fillion in the cast of Firefly. And that's like literally the requirements for voice descriptions for it. But they're getting hired because of their actors. Freddie Prinze Jr. is the voice of the main character in Star Wars Rebels. They're not hiring Freddie Prinze Jr. to come in there and do some crazy voices. They're hiring him to be the actor Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
I guess we have time for one more then.
Yeah, I guess we could. Who wants it?
jump up there.
Huh.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, who is next in line? Okay.
It does
That's only
seem
fair.
fair.
You could arm wrestle.
We can maybe get into.
Bring out the mud
You
pit.
get right behind
Ask
it.
your question quickly.
Okay, hey. First of all, I want to say, Sarah, I really loved your portrayal of Sayaka. That's one of the reasons I love the anime so much. I felt so bad for Sayaka. I loved her so much. Anyways.
I do too. Every time I watch it.
Anyways, I actually wanted to ask a question about that. Do you guys ever watch your own work? Because sometimes, like, if I say, like, I perform in a musical, and then my family gets a DVD of it, and it's just, I don't know, it feels weird to watch myself. Is it like that for you guys?
I think I learned from watching my own stuff, yeah.
I like to nitpick,
improve.
be like, how did I do? Did that
Yeah.
come out
Yeah.
well? And I'm
Yeah.
sort of like, what would I do differently next time?
I hate everything that I do. and it's just, it's all I want to do is I just want to critique everything and just like, oh, I could have done it different like this, or if I didn't know it was this situation, I could have put this inflection on it, or and so it's not good emotionally for me to actually, but I also love to play Borderlands, and so it's that's kind of a problem, and so so I just I sometimes I turn it down and
I'm completely the opposite. I love everything I'm in.
Yeah, brother.
I think to myself, well, how am I not doing this more?
I think really highly of myself,
It is a little bit strange in some ways. I love playing Borderlands 2, but as a gamer, I don't know, there's a little bit of a disconnect. Look, I know it's me, but it's just really funny, and and for the most part, I didn't remember every single line that I said, so it's sort of a new experience for me too, and I just sort of let it play out as, oh, this is just a character in the game, and yes, it happens to be me, but I'm entertained by it anyway.
Yeah, because there's hundreds of lines, so it's easy to forget what you did.
Right, yeah.
Very quickly, like, who's your favorite character you've ever voiced and why? Well, like, just for each of you.
I don't have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
Claptrap. My second favorite is TK Baha. So.
Yeah. I can't think of one.
Yeah, not a single one.
Star-Lord, man.
Give me a minute. Yeah.
I actually got to do a scratch read for Peter Cullen for Transformers Force trailers, and I knew that they were going to have him come back and re-record it. But it was a huge honor to fill in a little bit, because he was my inspiration. See, when I first heard him in Voltron, Defender of the Universe, I was like, that's what I want to do.
For me, I would say like one of my favorite new voices I'm playing, because I really can't pick one, is I'm the principal in Assassination Classroom. And should I have? I really enjoy his subtle prickishness and just overall.
Yeah, totally unlike you, though.
Right. Well,
you're not subtle about it at all.
I'm not subtle about it. He's a lot more subtle about it. Has to keep appearances up, but there's something very sinister going on there, and that's very enjoyable. So right now, I really like that. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, if I tried to talk, I have too many favorites, so I like that idea of going newest favorite. Suffice to say that NDA, so I can't even give any info. Suffice to say though that I'm having such a good time with this character, and I get to can't wait to be able to share it. It's so much fun.
You stole a part from Keith David, didn't you?
She was the voice of Goliath.
Yeah.
NDA.
Yeah.
I tell you, one time I was helping someone try to launch a Kickstarter type thing to get something made, and they did not tell me at all what I was doing. And there's like this creepy clown voice, and then there's this really awesome anti-hero, deep, dark bass, a little Peter Cullen-ish, a little movie trailer-ish. And I was like, okay, so I had to knock this thing out, and I'm like, it's me, child. I'm lucky I found you first. And it's like, and then all of a sudden, Twitter blew up. Like, dude, did you do the voice of Spawn? I'm like, no, I never worked on Spawn before. That's Keith David. And they're like, and somebody finally sent me a link, and sure enough, there was a fan project to get Spawn made, and it's amazing. It's way better than the 90s movie. And I heard myself in there, I was like, holy crap, I am Spawn!
All right, well, thanks.
Thank you. And we ran out of time.
This
Sorry,
is-
man. Don't
This
have
is
time
going
for
to
your
be the last
question.
question.
Yeah.
You knew this was a possibility.
Or did I? Anyway, have any of you like enjoyed watching each other's work?
Of course, I love these guys. Are you kidding me?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to meet people that that you've been hearing their voice, and now you get to put a face to the name and a face to the voice. If they do different characters and stuff like that. But I mean, we all like to consume entertainment, right? And we have a bunch of folks up here on the stage that I've consumed a lot of y'all's entertainment. Yeah. That sounds really dirty when I say it like that, but.
I've got a shrine of Steve Downs in my home, and a dirty pair of underwear and some candles.
Easy.
I've got some more entertainment.
Peter! I admittedly haven't played a lot of Halo because I'm behind, but I was sort of kind of hoping Steve would say I need a weapon at some point.
Yay!
Achievement unlocked. These things for me are always, I'm a fan of these people, and it's always an education for me because I'm sort of a, kind of a one-note guy, and to watch you guys, and ladies do what you do, and the variety of it is just, and the study of voiceover and voice acting, it's a blast for me. I mean, I'm should be sitting out there. It's such a,
Master Chief does not sit out there. Okay.
I was gonna say you play that one note really freaking good.
Yeah, right.
They said
Everybody
they had the
was-
throne ordered, but it never appeared. He should have had the throne in the back.
Right on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We should have a
Yeah,
Game
Master
of
Chief
Thrones.
is a leader. Everybody wants to listen to that guy.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Um,
Thank you, guys.
If any of you would like to get a group photo, like
Smattering
2
of
minutes,
applause.
so these guys can clear out whatever they need to do, we'll be right over there next to the screen. 2 minutes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all for coming out.
Give yourselves a
Thank you,
round of
panelists.
applause,
Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. You deserve applause for sitting through this whole thing.
The owner of a 2002 silver Honda Civic. Your headlights are on.